On today's episode, I have a guest with me. Her name is Amy Palmer. She's the founder of PEAC, or Parents of Estranged Adult Children. We'll share that website link with you as well. So let me get Amy on. Hi there, Amy. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Good evening. Thank you so much for having me. Well, it's Peace, and it is Peace without an E, and that is Parents of Estranged Adult Children. I've been going since about 2017 when my then 18-year-old daughter estranged from me for the first time. And I was just devastated, as it can be so consuming. And normally an upbeat, outgoing person, I found myself becoming depressed and isolating myself. And I thought, I need help. And I started looking for a support group, and there wasn't one. So, at least not that I found in my area. This is, of course, pre-COVID. So, I was looking for something in person, and I just decided, well, I guess I'm going to start one. So I really have no professional training. I was a broadcast journalism major and marketing in college. And so I just thought, well, I experienced this. I'm going to learn and research and do as much as I can, and hope to help others along the way as I started to heal myself. So that's Peace in a nutshell. Well, you bring up a really good point. Is just so many people over and over again that they thought they were the only one. There's so much shame in estrangement.
Oh my goodness.
You think, what kind of parent am I, that my child doesn't want to have anything to do with me, and people judge you. They just do. And so we have a tendency of not to talk about it. And for me, I just wanted to get the word out there. It's a silent epidemic. As you talked about, it's in every culture, it's in every country, it's in every income bracket, ethnicity, everything. It's just all over. And it's an epidemic, although a silent one, because they can't get the numbers on it, because so many people are filled with shame and they don't want to come out and say it. But I'm guessing, again, it's a guess, but almost everybody in their circle of influence knows somebody who's estranged, but they don't know it because they won't tell. There's a lot of things that are different, but there's a lot of commonalities as well. You're absolutely right. The pain of estrangement is like no other, and you cannot understand it unless you've been through it. And I had one lady in my very first group, peace group that we had back in 2017. She had lost a child in estrangement, and then also a child in death. And she said estrangement was much more difficult for her. There wasn't any casseroles, there wasn't any finality in it, and there was no choice in it. So anyway, it's a very, very difficult situation. And that's why the support groups and what you're doing, and myself, and all, there's lots of others like us out there trying to get the word out, to educate people, and to tell them that they're not alone, and those feelings, and that we're all going through them, different but same. Sure. My daughter was 18 years old, and she was still a senior in high school at the time. But because she was 18, there was not really anything we could do. We just, she basically had met a boy, a young man, and that started it. And we didn't know him well. He did not know us. And she basically just one day disappeared. We did not know where she was for about 6 months of time. And we, went to the police, and of course they were no help. We went to friends, and she pretty much cut off contact with absolutely everyone except for this young man and his family. We went to the family, his parents, for help, and they threatened police on us. We just went to talk to find out more about our daughter. And we had references. We had people who were friends who we've known for, 15, 20 years, vouch for our character, trying to get help from them to find out where our daughter was, but they refused to help us. And so, and that was started my journey with Peace, to start that, to get help and support and educate myself. Our daughter did come back after being gone for about a year. And she came back and was with us for about 2 years. And that's another thing. If they estrange once, the probability of them estranging again is high. And unbeknownst to us, she got back together with this boy, and she estranged again. There was never any fighting, or there wasn't a disagreement. I mean, there was nothing
Right.
for us. The only thing I could say, if there was a warning in my situation, was that my daughter and I were very close. We homeschooled. We spent a lot of time together, and we enjoyed the same things. And she started to pull away from me. She wouldn't, I'd say, do you want to watch a movie? Do you want to go for a hike or whatever? And she would start refusing. So she was pulling away from me. I guess in hindsight, when I look back, that would probably have been a sign. But she's been estranged from us now for about 2.5 years. And again, everybody, not just my husband and I, which is her dad, and her brother, but everyone. She's very close to her grandparents and her cousins, and she sees no one except for this young man that she's with. The really difficult pieces is for siblings. My children are 12 months apart. I also have a son. They were very close, so it's painful not only for parents but other family members as well. And then you bring up grandchildren. I mean, that puts a whole nother level to it. And I've got several parents in my group that don't get to see their grandchildren, and one even had their grandson, who she was very close with, say, "Nana, why did you quit me?" How painful is that? So that just adds a whole nother layer to it. In my case, I don't, my daughter does not have children at this point, but that I think just is painful beyond words, to not be able to have access to grandchildren. Absolutely not. I knew nothing about it. Like, I shouldn't say that. Let me backtrack. I didn't know anything on a clinical definition of estrangement. However, my husband's nephew has not seen his parents for a very long time. But I didn't understand that to be estrangement. I didn't know it. Other than that,
You just
and
thought they weren't close.
Exactly. Thank you. We had a really pretty good family. My husband and I have been married for 25 years.
Awesome.
He worked, I stayed home. We ate dinner together every night. We went to church on Sunday. Our kids were involved in things. So we had friends, we had family close by. The only caveat, I guess I would say, we have a son who I said was 12 months younger. He is disabled. He has cerebral palsy. So a lot of our world evolved around him and his needs. We never made our daughter responsible for it at all. I mean, she was not responsible for his care. And if he went to HIPAA therapy, she went riding right along with him. I mean, we, really felt like we had a pretty good home. I mean, were we perfect parents? Absolutely not. I mean, there's no such thing. We all do, that we wish we could do over, but we were a pretty good family in that way. Yeah, I had to feel my emotions and go through that. For me, I would start to feel this. All of a sudden, I'd feel this anxiety, particularly when we didn't know where our daughter was. And it was just, I can't even tell you how horrible that feeling was. And, your mind goes 1,000 different
every
ways.
place.
And so for me, I am a person of faith. And so I would recite in my head scripture over and over. And for me, it was Philippians 4:7. And I just said, "And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, guards my heart and mind in Christ Jesus." And I would just repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. And that for me really got me through those times where I really felt like I was falling apart. And I had to keep going because of my son. And others depended on me. But I learned this from Elizabeth Smart. Do you ever get the chance to see her speak? Do. She said something that resonated with me. Someone asked her, "How do you go on? How do you live your life after this horrible thing has happened to you?" And she said, "I've had a wonderful childhood. I have a wonderful husband. I have a wonderful family now with my children." And she said, "I'm not going to let this much of my life, and there's this much out there, define my life." She's like, "So you have a choice." And I'm like, that's for us who are living with estrangement or strained relationships with our children. We have a choice every day how we're going to think about this. And so for me, I choose to focus on what I do have rather than what I don't. And that's what works for me. Everybody's different. often estrangement is involved a third party. The third party can be a boyfriend, a
sure.
daughter-in-law. It can also be, with parental alienation. It can be one
Yep.
spouse turning the children against the other spouse. And there's a whole bunch of information on that. I did not. I didn't. Once I got reading and educating and doing that, I really didn't feel that.
Yeah.
And in the past, for me, I think if therapy works for you, great. And I think people
Right.
should always seek what works best for them.
For sure.
For me, therapy tended to focus on the negative things in my life and not the positive. So it wasn't a good fit for me.
Sure.
So that's why I didn't do it. But I think absolutely therapy should be
Yeah.
pursued if that's your jam. And interestingly enough, I get actual emails from therapists as well looking to
Oh.
offer their clients a support
Oh.
group. So I run a one over Zoom. So anyone's welcome to join that. They can just go on to the website and it says find a group or contact either one. And you just email me and I'll send links for that. If someone's interested in starting a peace group in their area, they can also just contact me through the website and I will help them. I usually like to get to know them, just usually talking over the phone or
Sure.
over Zoom, something like that, just so I can get a feel for their story and then have them fill out a facilitator application. And then we go from there. But I help them, supply them with a logo. If they want the Peace logo, I can also help them do press releases and give them ideas of how to generate people to come if they're looking for an in-person group in their area, so that you have to kind of spread the word. I wasn't, like I said,
Right.
advertising. So I try to help with that to make it a little easier. And I've had
Definitely.
people on my group which we meet every month, who actually ended up being in the same area and now have gotten together for coffee and whatnot. So
How
it's
awesome.
yeah, it's worked out pretty great. So and I'm hoping that one day I get to meet a couple of the other people. Maybe we could have some sort of convention, or I don't know.
Right. Right.
But
Something.
starting a local group, as we move forward, is definitely an option with Peace, and I'd be happy to help with that if someone's interested.
Awesome. Awesome. Very good.
Absolutely. First thing, get support. I would suggest either a therapist if that's your something you're interested in doing. I would say reach out to groups like the one you facilitate. Just educate yourself on the phenomenon of estrangement. I'd be cautious of burdening your family or friends with this. Sometimes we get so
Yeah.
consumed in estrangement early on, we can't think of anything else, and sometimes that can be a burden to some of our friends and family, and they can't quite understand it because they've never been through it. Again, getting outside, exercising would be another thing. I would suggest stay busy, get connected, volunteer. Those are some things that, not all at once, of course, but those would be some things that I would suggest that helped me. And
Yeah.
that was this, and practice an attitude of gratitude. I literally would make a list of all the things I was grateful for. I mean, I'm fairly healthy. I have a home. My husband has a job. I have a dog. I mean, any of those things, we all have something to be grateful for, and just
Yeah.
really focus on those things. And
Just
that
to
helps
find
me.
it and focus on it. Yeah. For
Exactly.
sure.
And definitely I felt like educating yourself as much as you can, reading, and so that it gives you a sense of you're not crazy, it's not you, you're not alone. And that was super helpful. And I
Yeah.
would suggest people do that for sure.
Okay.
No, thank you. I appreciate what you're doing, and just, all of us banding together and trying to get the word out, so that these parents don't suffer in silence would be great. My website is peaceinternational.org, and that's peace without an E, Peac, international.org. So go on there. There's some great resources on there as well. And also, if anyone wants information on joining my group or to start a group.
Okay. And I'll put your website link in
Great.
my description. So I want to thank Amy again for being on the show. And please remember to visit her website if you have any questions on perhaps joining her group or starting your own group, or just for some of the resources. The website address is peaceinternational.org. That's peace without an E. So visit the website, take a look around. If you have any questions about that, contact Amy. But I appreciate Amy being on the show. For everyone else, if you have any questions for me or you'd like to be on the show, feel free to email me at beyondthepainpodcast@gmail.com. And please remember to live beyond the pain.